Yes, we it's the Wrestling Caucus. And I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Ariaga, everybody.
Listen, we haven't been doing this for a while, and there's a reason why. We have so much apathy. Lots of apathy.
Not for wrestling entirely, but for one company in particular.
Yeah, World Wrestling Entertainment. We hate it.
You want me like?
Listen, and there's a reason. We're talking about the market leader of pro wrestling, right? But it sucks. But here's why it sucks. One, last summer, right? You know, with COVID and everything, it was bad. It hit wrestling in general. It was bad. But like, listen, there were times I'm watching WWE, even with COVID. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Edge and Randy, that's cool and whatever.
The promos in particular were astounding.
There were some good moments. You know, Drew and Seth was pretty cool. You know, things went to hell with Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins. The eye match, that was the worst thing I've seen. But then they topped it. Retribution. I think for me,
it wasn't even over after that.
That was like, I can't watch this show week to week anymore. I can't do it. I don't know about you, Smiley. We'll talk about it, but like, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Well, I'll tell you the point I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown in its entirety, the very point I stopped, and was this before or after this is definitely during the pandemic, when the fake DUI for Jeff Hardy.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
No, because here's the thing, like, at that point, I wasn't seeing Jeff Hardy on TV at all. None of us were.
Yeah.
And I was usually, ever since Brody Lee, even before then, every time a wrestler would be on TV for no reason that you had no idea of, that they didn't tell you, I was always worried. And Jeff Hardy, he had a history that's very worrisome. You know, he had a lot of DUIs and, you know, had a lot of issues. And when he was coming back to SmackDown, I do remember, you know, like, despite how the show was, people were excited whenever they saw one of Jeff Hardy's vignettes. Or like, oh, he's coming back. They're going to let Jeff Hardy just be Jeff Hardy. Because, you know, all you got to do is let Jeff Hardy be Jeff Hardy. When he came back, I was very excited. I was actually very happy. And for some reason, they kept kind of, you know, talking really hard about the DUI stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever, WWE does this. Then they fucking staged the DUI. They staged, like, mind you, this guy could have died. Him and many others, he was lucky to survive the shit he's been through. He could have fucking died, excuse my language. And they fake a DUI. I shouldn't be surprised, I know, because it's WWE. Literally, there is a segment of Triple H screwing a dead woman in a coffin. Look it up. Yep. You can look it up. I'm not crazy. I shouldn't be surprised, but then it was a point where it was just, I just remember when they faked when they were faking a DUI, when I saw Jeff Hardy on the floor, Elias was hit by a car, poor Renee had to, like, you could tell Renee was the best interviewer they had, because she didn't break, she didn't break when this happened. Like, she always, like, tries to remain professional. This was like, yeah, fuck this. And this is before all the doll shit came in. This is before, because, like, it was that point. It's like, literally, it's like, you know, I get WWE, they like to use real world thing, like, you know, wrestling, you know, usually wrestling storylines are good, like, you know, sometimes when you use real world material, like, but this was just like, you're literally, like, there are people who were worried about Jeff Hardy, and they were happy to see him. They thought they were going to see him wrestle. I was one of them. And then the fake DUI happened. That was the moment where, I know it was kind of a rant, but that was the moment where I just, I'm done with this.
Yeah, when I saw, like, guys doing, like, Nickelodeon style, you know, these bunch of dudes running into the ring, breaking the ring, and taking a cinder block and throwing it into the performance center, and it's just like, yeah, I'm an adult. I can't waste my time with this. Yeah, we were in a pandemic at the time. You couldn't really do anything, but it's like, I can just work out or read a book or something like that, or watch anything that was on Netflix or Hulu. Like, I can't do that anymore. And then with The Fiend, right? And I remember The Fiend and Braun Strowman had their thing, and how that ended. Braun Strowman drowned. That was the storyline. He fell into a swamp. And that was right when Shad Gaspard passed.
Oh,
saving
my
his
God,
son.
yeah, that's right.
So I'm like, there's no fucking way. And that was the same pay-per-view where I saw them try to remove Rey Mysterio Jr.'s eye from its socket.
Oh, you mean the fucking the pool ball?
Yeah, and I'm like, there's no way I can watch it. Like, I just can't do it. Like, forget about wrestling. This is just bad TV. It's really, and people, every person I meet, dates I go on, I watch horrible, trashy reality TV show. Some of the reality TV shows on now, yeah, they're stupid and they're a waste of time, but it's like nothing. I think there can't be a reality show as like mind numbing as World Wrestling Entertainment. It's just, and here's the thing, like, our good friend Elton, he tells me all the time. He's like, I would be embarrassed to watch this show. If anybody, like, if I say, I can't even say I'm a wrestling fan. That's what he tells me. I can't say I'm a wrestling fan because the most popular wrestling program is all this goofy, wacky Nickelodeon shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what?
Look,
I can't anymore.
Shout out to my friend Zara. She's a fan of reality shows, certain reality shows. I'm like, you know what? When I hang out with her, she'll feel bad because she'll be watching a reality show and she'll be like, do you mind watching this? And I'll just be like, look, she doesn't know that I just came back from watching Raw or SmackDown a few days ago. So it's like, look, listen, anything is better than what I just saw. You had no idea. But like, our dad, like God bless him, loyal fan. He watches every week. He even if he hates it, he'll be like, "Oh, I hate that. I gotta watch this." Like, Dad, like you don't have to watch it. I'll be telling our dad, like, look, there are full episodes of NWA Power. There's entire other things we can be watching, but he's loyal, I guess. He likes to watch. And sometimes I'll be passing by where he's watching, and I'll see like, oh, they have a nice little match happening, so I'll sit down and I'll watch, and it'll be nice, like nice. They're letting two wrestlers have a wrestling match. Sometimes it won't end in a DQ. I'm like, oh wow, that was a nice little match. And then right after, the doll would come in, or if the theme would come up, and then I'll remember, oh god, yep, this is what I'm trying to avoid. All right, back upstairs.
Yep.
And with the Fiend, at first, I'm probably eating my words now. At first, I thought the Fiend was kind of entertaining. Like
Me too.
The Firefly Funhouse segments. You remember there was a point where that was the most entertaining thing on the show?
It was.
Oh my!
It was.
Because like it was genuinely kind of funny. Like it was like a wacko version of Steve. Even though Steve, have you seen that Steve? This is sort of a segue. Have you been seeing that promo? Steve from Blue's Clues. You saw that video that he uploaded where he's just like talking to all of his fans, saying, "I hope you guys are doing great."
No, I haven't seen it.
Listen, that is that is more captivating than any wrestling promo we've seen in the past few years.
Joey Badass saying, yo, shit's about to get real smoky out here on Power.
Yeah.
That one line is better than a lot of wrestling promos.
Yeah, but anyway, but shout out to Steve from Blue's Clues. Glad he's doing okay. But anyway, I thought at first that the Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse stuff was entertaining. And I'm thinking, okay, like the promos he has with leading up to Hell in a Cell were funny, were entertaining. You like, see you in hell, like it with a smile on his face after cutting a devilish promo. It's fine. Whatever. And then the Hell in a Cell match happened with Seth. It ended in a DQ. A Hell in a Cell ended in a DQ. Which now, even apparently Seth wanted to choke him out.
Yeah.
He wanted to choke out Vince McMahon.
You see, that's bad wrestling booking, and that ruined Seth Rollins as a babyface at that point. That's another conversation.
Yes, exactly.
But here's the thing. Okay, right? The problem when you go beyond bad wrestling booking, you're starting to put together really garbage television that's like unwatchable from a week-to-week standpoint. They have a show. We're not talking about the undercard here. We're talking about show closing angles where you have the
show opening angles.
Yeah, you have the Fiend come out, put his hand in Alexa Bliss's mouth for a long time, and now she's become the Fiend or something like that.
No, she became infatuated with you. Remember? That was at the same time where Braun Strowman gave her a body, was going to give her a body slam, or did he give her a body? Oh, no.
I don't know. Who cares?
Anyway, yeah, he kind of did, but it was like a blackout effect. But anyway, these two characters on TV were abusing this woman, and she liked them because of it. That was the story they were telling.
Beautiful stuff.
Like, and then she's Harley Quinn, even though Harley Quinn's a better character than any of these people.
Oh, come on. You watch the Suicide Squad, it's like, this is the inspiration?
We want to clarify. The Suicide Squad, the good one, not the one that came out years ago. The Suicide Squad.
It's like when Eminem said he was really inspired by Jay-Z's 444 when he made Revival. It's like there's no way you were, because you wouldn't have made the album you made. But like, You then have this woman who's a zombie or whatever the fuck she is. In the Money in the Bank ladder match, she's using her powers. And then Zelina Vega is miming her. And then she falls down the ladder to Alexa Bliss's control. And it's like, I'm an adult. I can't watch. This is nothing. This is stupid. Okay.
Mind you, Bret Hart used to wrestle for this company.
Mm-hmm. And then we watch WrestleMania. Right? And then we see Alexa Bliss come out with goo and a big Jack in the Box, and we hear a paying crowd saw that. It's like, I can't watch this shit anymore.
No, but it's okay. No, but it was all okay because they just piped in fake cheers.
Okay, listen. Here's where I'm getting at with all of this. This is the Wrestling Caucus, right? We started this so we could just talk about pro wrestling. And that includes WWE. So my question for you, Smiley, should we even talk about this bullshit anymore? What do you think?
Well, look.
There's so much other wrestling to talk about. But we're talking about the market leader of pro wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So what should we talk about this fucking place anymore?
Well, look, the way I see it, if WWE or whoever's running the ship, whoever's steering the ship, it kind of feels like Vince McMahon is just like not steering the ship and everyone's just standing behind them wanting to grab the wheel, but no, everyone's too scared to. I don't know. But if they decide to wake up from this slumber and decide, you know what, let's be a wrestling company again, and they actually put on a wrestling feud, sure. But as of right now, that's fantasy world. Realistically, as long as I see a doll is the Steve Austin of this company, I'm okay. I'm good. Listen, there are plenty of other things to watch. I can watch anything else. I can play with my hands. Yeah. I can make my hands fight each other.
Yep.
For enjoyment.
You can do mock puppets. You can do shadow puppets. We can do shadow puppets and have wrestling matches with our hands.
Christ.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just sad because like they have some of the best. My two of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now, Asuka or Kana, as people know as Kana, AJ Styles. And I have to really think about that. Oh, well, Finn Balor's still there, right?
Yeah.
He's still there after what happened? Jesus. He didn't quit right after that. But anyway, yeah, they sign people that I love. But I know, and Keith Lee, one of them, or Bearcat Lee. Christ. But anyway, they sign people that I love. But they're either not going to do anything with them, they're going to kill him, or kill him some more.
Yep.
It's just like, and plus, like, I don't know. It's just as of right now, yeah. I haven't watched this Raw SmackDown in months. We're definitely not covering. We haven't been covering it recently for obvious reasons. Like, what are we gonna cover? Oh, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte beat each other up, but the match was halted or it was stopped. I think because Charlotte ripped up somebody's doll,
and then she starts crying and foaming out of the mouth.
Oh my, no. Thing is, it wasn't. It was supposed to be foam, but something happened and it looked like this. Like she was just drooling.
She looked like she had whatchamacallit? The bread you get at communion?
Yeah.
She looked like she had that in her mouth.
But here's the thing. Well, look, I'm sure whoever enjoyed watching her like puke out black goo all over herself, or whoever enjoys watching a grown woman dress like a child, I'm sure they were enjoying the hell out of this stuff. But look, recently we saw the return of Bryan Danielson at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
20,000 people.
Yeah, with Kenny Omega. And I'm telling you, look, when we were there, time stopped.
Yep.
When Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega were looking at each other, time stopped. And this is before the bell rang.
WWE couldn't do that. All the hot shotting in the world, they couldn't pull off what we saw.
But here's the thing, on paper, and I know not, like, I'm talking about fantasy stuff now, but on paper, you would think a company that has AJ freaking Styles and Keith Lee and all these talented people, not only people who are talented wrestlers, but people who can also cut promos too. You would think on paper, with a stacked roster like this, they could have a moment like that.
I mean, I was at WrestleMania for
you saw Daniel Bryan versus
Kofi Kingston, but here's the difference.
Bryan Danielson, sorry.
That was an amazing moment, and the crowd wasn't. It was hotter. That was like the peak of the crowd interest at WrestleMania. We're talking about 60,000 people at MetLife Stadium. But the thing is, it was right in the middle of the card, and that wasn't like in WWE's eyes, that wasn't the real main
Yeah,
event.
in their eyes, like no one, like no one's gonna remember that. Even though that was, when I picture that WrestleMania in my head, I think of Xavier Woods lifting up that cloth and unveiling Kofi's championship.
Yep.
I think of that moment. I think that's a WrestleMania.
It's a great moment. But the thing is, like, week to week, that show is not. Look, WWE and AEW, right? They're both weekly episodic shows, right? So there has to be a reason for you to watch week to week. Not just creating isolated incidents, either for ratings or for something, for whatever. You have to give me a reason to watch every week. WWE right now, again, like you said, there's a lot of WWE has a lot of great talent. Like, I like Big E, I like Kofi Kingston, I like Roman Reigns, I like Sasha Banks, I like Becky Lynch, I like Bianca Belair, I like Toni Storm, even though she's a dweeb now. There's a lot of guys there and girls that I like that are very talented, but there's no reason for me to watch this show week to week. I have no reason to care. I have no real reason to really sit down and watch for 3 hours on Monday and then another 2 hours on Friday.
Oh, no, 2.5 next Friday.
Oh, whatever.
Because apparently the the company that doesn't want to be a wrestling company
is
still competing with the wrestling company.
That's how they've been since the 80s.
Well,
here's the okay. Listen, I think for this show, I can't watch Raw. And we never did that, but whatever the next show is, Saudi. I don't care about Saudi. I'm not watching
any Saudi.
I don't care if Steve Austin and The Rock did another match.
They beheaded a reporter.
Yeah,
you're having a show there.
Nah, man.
Another one?
I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck.
Look, listen, and look. It's not even just the bad booking. It's just like
shady
look who they
business
choose.
practices.
Yeah, look who they choose to associate themselves with.
Yeah, and it's just like, look, I've wanted to give WWE the benefit of that for years. You know what I was doing? Like, I would watch, I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm going to watch the show for this, right? But now, I can't do that anymore. Now, like, there's so many other things I want to do. Now concerts are back. I want to go to concerts. I want to go on dates. Like, I don't have time to dedicate 5 hours of my life for one angle that I like, or one guy or girl that I like.
A Zoom date is even better
I'm
than
sorry.
watching.
Yeah, I've been on Zoom dates. I've been on 3-hour Zoom dates that were way better than a 3-hour Raw. What I'm saying is like, I watched this show and I cannot apply wrestling logic to this show. Like, I can't do it. Like, I can't say, this is how you book a babyface. This is how you book tag teams. This is because they don't do that.
Wait. They have baby faces in WWE? They have those things still?
It's like I'm watching any TV show, right? Any TV show. I see who the clear protagonist is. I see who the clear antagonist is. WWE does not have that. They have the guy that they want on top, and that's what it is.
And look, I'll say this, like. And like I said, it's not like nothing on this show is good. Even through all the crap, you can see that there are people who still try to put their best foot in. Like people like the Edges of the world.
They're trying.
Asuka will be put in a terrible, terrible position. She will try to work her ass off no matter, it's to the point where even if she's in a bad, even with someone like her, someone like an Asuka or an Edge or an AJ Styles is in a dumb spot, people can still tell that, like, oh, well, that person is really good, but this overall stuff sucks. Like, it's just, I'm not dismissing the people who are good. It's just like, well, AEW, yeah, like AEW, like, there are people who are signed to AEW who I'm not a fan of as workers or as people, but for the most part, the show, it has a reason for me to watch every week. It has multiple, and plus it doesn't, like I said, despite some of the problems I have with AEW, like, it doesn't insult, they don't insult their fans.
Okay, you know what's funny? Here's the, we went to 2 Dynamites. We went to the Prudential Center. We've had tickets for that for a year and a half.
Thank you for honoring those tickets, by the way.
Yeah, and then a week later, we went to Arthur Ashe in front of a larger crowd, similar market, New York, Tri-State, Jersey, Queens, right? I haven't had that, like, I was like, okay, this is professional wrestling, right? Like, this is what professional wrestling is. You know what I mean? It's like, it's simple, right to the point, and boom. Even if you don't like Canadian Destroyers, High Flyers, whatever the fuck, that's beside the point. The point is, like, you're getting pro wrestling, and that's all that's all I ask for.
Yeah, like,
give me a reason to watch next week. And also, aside from that, it's like, listen, again, WWE is gonna do WWE, and it's like, I can't say, like, I listen to reporters, I listen to people I respect talk about WWE and get really upset when they do stupid shit. You're supposed to call them out on it. Great. But it's like, WWE, WWE. They're not going to do they don't listen to their fans. Like when Bryan Danielson was there, and he was the hottest he's ever been coming off that SummerSlam
he was injured
program
for 2 years and he was still the hottest guy
it's
on
like,
that roster.
You have a guy, and then you have the Royal Rumble, and it's like the crowd is chanting for him. I don't care what your plans are. The crowd is chanting for him. You gotta listen to your crowd. You gotta call an audible. What do you do then? You think when you beat a guy, you keep beating him, the fans are gonna you think every babyface you have is gonna be Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson was already a name before he came to WWE, right? So ever since then, that's the logic you've applied to every babyface you had. You did the same thing with Kofi Kingston. You beat a guy, you beat a guy, you beat a guy, you beat a guy, and they'll just have sympathy. No, that's not what's gonna happen. So I keep watching the same patterns over and over and over and over. I look at Seth freaking fucking Rollins. Every fucking pay-per-view we went to for the past 3 years with this motherfucker on the card, he was one of the hottest guys on that card. What happened? What happened? They put him in a Hell in a Cell. He's a dweeb with the Fiend. He cries. He cried because he cries.
Mind you, this is a Hell in a Cell match, and the referee was telling Seth, "You have to take it easy, man. You're hurting him too bad." And in a Hell in a Cell match.
No, even before that, he's on Raw and he's crying and he's weeping.
Oh yeah, that was another part where he cried.
Yeah, he cried, and the crowd turned on him.
Mixed.
and then him as a heel, he goes in and say, "You fans, all the fans, you." It's like, no, your promotion does not know how to book baby faces. So, and you're not the only one. CM Punk was the same thing. CM Punk in his hottest year, we talked about this. He loses to Triple H clean for no reason. And look, I'm not the type of
lose to Kevin Nash too.
No.
Or did I remember that?
No, they started something and then.
Oh no, Kevin Nash was the reason he lost to Triple H.
Kevin Nash was the reason why he lost the WWE title to Alberto Del Rio.
Oh.
He powerbombed them and then Del Rio cashed in.
Yeah, okay.
But here's the thing. CM Punk was the hottest guy. The hottest. And then you beat him. And then he was hot all summer. And that fall, he was cold as ice. To be fair, everything, fall of 2011 was cold. Cold. You have a guy, he's on fire he was supposed to be the heel. In spite of your stupid booking, he was the hottest guy you had. Nope. We have to kill him. We have to pour water on him. This is not our guy. Hunter has to go over. Okay. I'm not the person that thinks, here's another thing about WWE. They've been the market leader for 20, 30, fucking 40 years, right? Whatever the fuck, 50 years. They've convinced people. If you lose, you're a dork. I watch AEW. I saw Hangman Page lose in that tag match with the Elite and him and Dark Order. And Jungle Boy, I think Jungle Boy is I forgot who was in that match. Well, Hangman lost.
I think I know what match you're talking about. I think it was the one where Brody Lee was the one that he pinned Hangman.
No. I'm talking about I think it was in Texas, one of the first few AEW road shows since COVID. It was the Elite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, was definitely
so Hangman lost the match, but how did he lose the match? What happened? He was the last guy standing, and it was Kenny and one of the Bucks still there, right? They did and Brandon Cutler was being a stooge, and he was, there were so many obstacles stacked upon him. And Hangman over, he you know what I mean? Like he was trying to fight, right? He was trying to fight through that, and he lost. Some dweebs thought that that's what burying is. He was not buried. He lost, but he tried, but he lost. And what happened? He goes away for a while. What happens? Hangman comes back. What happened? He won. He won.
He won the Casino Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Casino Ladder.
Yeah.
Match.
See, you can losing doesn't mean losing is not a bad thing. But the thing is, it's a pattern, right? It's a like, how are you portrayed overall? Like, okay, if you're Kofi Kingston and you're the world champion and you lose to Brock Lesnar in 10 seconds, and the week later you don't sell it, you don't say shit about it, dweeb, you're a dork. You're a dork. Your character's a dork.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can tell there was something wrong because there were a bunch of Kofi. When that happened, a bunch of Kofi's friends on Twitter, Bryan Danielson being one of them, were saying all these great things about Kofi and how, like, you know, despite, you know, what happened, we love you, and that, like, you know, you deserve better. You're amazing, mind you. And Kofi couldn't. And yeah, and like you said, Kofi went out on SmackDown. He was throwing pancakes like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened.
Like you didn't just lose the world title.
You're a dork.
And that's the thing, on paper, a main event match with Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston. How can that be horrible?
Yeah, if you lose to Brock Lesnar, fine. You're the world champ. You didn't lose all summer. That's okay. But you need to sell the fact that you lost.
And plus the thing is, and I'm not even mad about the fact that you, like, not just the fact that you lost in 10 seconds. It's just, the match didn't have to be 30 minutes.
You see, here's the thing. We're talking about pro wrestling logic.
It didn't have to be a 30-minute draw.
WWE is not trying to do pro wrestling. They're not trying to do that. They're not. I can't sit here and apply wrestling logic to a show that's not trying to do pro wrestling logic. They're not trying to do it. They're not. They don't need to talk you into the arena. Why? They got $3 billion worth of fucking TV deals, right? They don't need to talk you into the arena. But people are still going to pay to see you because you're WWE. And they grew up watching you, and that's it. Wrestling begins and ends with WWE to some people. So that's always going to be there. Well, there's going to be a time. Okay, look at the new UBS Arena in Belmont, right? In Elmont, Long Island, right? WWE is going to be there. And a week later, AEW is going to be there. Guess who's selling more tickets?
AEW.
Yeah. Why? Why are they selling more tickets?
Because their fans know, like, oh, okay, I'm not going to get jerked off.
Yeah. AEW's every AEW has built a dedicated fan base, right? They've built a fan base. You watch a Dynamite, and I'm sitting there. We've been to both Raw and AEW. It's two different beasts. AEW Raw, it's just an overall show, and there's a big lull, and the show kind of wanes after like the second hour, and it's just like no main event is announced really, and you're just there to be there. AEW, they tell you exactly what the fuck is happening, because guess what? Professional wrestling, any kind of combat sport, UFC, boxing, they tell you what the fucking card is. And you go pay your tickets, and guess what? You get what you paid for.
And I cut you off.
No, okay. WWE, let me just say, WWE, now they know that you're not paying to see, they don't want you to come pay to see, here's our new stars, here's some good matches you're going to see, unless AEW or whoever is doing something else.
But even if they do promote their matches, they'll probably just switch it at the last second.
Exactly. They do that. They've done that.
They promoted, like, what pay-per-view was it? They promoted Sasha Banks.
SummerSlam.
They promoted Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. I'm not a big Sasha Banks fan, but the last time she wrestled Bianca Belair, despite problems I had with them selling it psychologically, they did have like a good, little scuffle. They had a good match.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe the second match will be better. Because that usually happens in wrestling. The first match is okay. The second match is, wow, shit. But, I thought, okay, fine. Let me turn off my brain and let's watch these two, two black women in another main event at a wrestling show. That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And what happened is Sasha wasn't there. They had Becky Lynch come out instead, which is why, okay, I'm cool. That's fine. Becky Lynch is back. Her and Bianca Belair get to wrestle for about 10 minutes. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
What happened was fucking Becky Lynch, quote unquote. Well, I would say buried, but I can't argue with people saying she literally killed her in 2 minutes. She killed Bianca Belair in 2 minutes. Someone that people liked.
Yep.
And literally in a second, everyone hated Becky Lynch.
Well, you know what?
This is what I do people like Becky Lynch now?
I don't know. I don't watch.
Exactly.
I can't tell you.
There we go. Here's the thing. I was excited for Becky Lynch to come back. And in literally one move, they made me hate Becky Lynch. And they made me not care for anything Bianca Belair's going to do. Because I know they're just going to make her look stupid.
To that end, I remember when WWE announced they were going to be at the Garden. Right? And despite what I think about WWE, whatever, the past few years or so, WWE shows are... I have a good time, right? We went to... Right before COVID broke out, went to that Raw at the Barclays Center. That was a great Raw. It was right
it was Randy Orton RKO'd Beth Phoenix,
right? it was good. It was a good show overall, right? It was Street Profits and Viking Raiders had a really good match. It was fun.
Ricochet lost the Riddick.
Yeah, but then all the bullshit happened with WWE last year and a half. The show kind of got stupider somehow. And I actually, you want to go to SmackDown at the Garden? What'd you say? Who the fuck am I to cheer? And I had to think about it.
Yeah.
I didn't say.
No, yeah. Because think about it. Like, all the baby faces they make look like idiots.
Yeah.
And there's an overabundance of heels.
So
who the hell get a cheer?
Why should we go to this show? And then when they find out, and then the networks find out that AEW is outpacing them in their main market, New York fucking city. They're outpacing them in ticket sales because they're doing this big show at Arthur Ashe Stadium. This is a company that's been around 2 years and they're already selling out 20,000 people. What does that say? You know what that says? That says people were starved for an alternative to Vince McMahon, and they're putting on a show that the people that are paying money to go see it like it. And they got CM Punk, Bryan Danielson. That helps, right? And they have him in matches that people want to see. So 20,000 people was not, that made sense. WWE does not really have a show that people want to see unless they call in their big guns. They call in Brock, what are you doing? Becky, what are you doing? Let's just have you come. John Cena, we'll just come. And then people, now they do their biggest
gate.
They
just call John. Hey, just stick your hand out the curtain.
Yeah, just come out and wave to us.
That'll sell a few thousand tickets.
Yeah, that was the biggest SmackDown gate they've ever done, at the Garden. That was their biggest gate they've ever did. They hot-shotted that motherfucker to the core, right? To get people to come to that fucking place.
And look, like I'm saying, like this is... I'm not like I said, like I'm not saying that other companies are perfect. AEW, when we went to go see them, there were some things I wasn't looking forward to, but luckily, it were very few in between. Like the only thing I wasn't looking forward to was Cody, and we were on the snack line when that happened.
But here's the thing.
But everything else,
at the end of that show,
in the arena for.
At the end of that show, okay, here's the thing. Remember we went to that SmackDown and we watched that 205 Live right after. Okay, that was a great SmackDown. It was New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers, right?
That's the only thing I remember.
Yeah, right. That was a great match. And Becky Lynch comes out. She was crazy over. This was 48 hours after she lost her mind. Yeah, and then she literally told the crowd, "You guys never believed in me." Oh yeah, and the crowd was roaring. She was the biggest fucking baby face they had since Bryan Danielson, right? And then right, they had 205 Live after that. And Wale was there. You saw people leave in droves. It was not even funny. And they had the Lucha Party and whoever else the fuck they wrestled. Who knows who they wrestled. And they bounced around and it was fun and people liked it. But people were like, generally speaking, just like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, we watched Dynamite, right? At the, both shows. At Prudential Center and at the fucking Arthur Ashe. Some people left. But a vast majority of them
to get home on time was because they wanted to leave.
Yeah, they left.
They were very reluctant to leave.
And they stayed. You had CM Punk, and they still had it. Yeah, they were a little tired, but they still had energy. Then at the main event with fucking Minoru Suzuki, Lance Archer, Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, hometown guy, they were rabid. And then Homicide comes out, they lose their fucking mind. They kept the energy going because that's pro wrestling. And then at the end, when Homicide cuts that fucking insane promo. He's like, AEW, New York is AEW country. If you don't like it, you can kiss my fucking ass, whatever he said. I'm like, that makes me want to watch Dynamite on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, and like he also had a little tribute. Like a tribute. He talked about his mom, didn't he?
Yeah.
He
cut a crazy good.
What was crazy? What I remember, at least from where we were in the arena, we were kind of Rampage was ending, and Eddie Kingston was talking. Like, he was cutting that promo we were talking about. People were walking out. We're about to walk out, but then when Eddie Kingston grabbed a mic, I just remember everybody who was walking out kind of turned around and stopped and listened to Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, like people left, but it wasn't noticeable.
No, it wasn't. You know what I mean? People literally stopped leaving to listen to Eddie Kingston talk.
Yeah, and it was late. It was like midnight.
And another thing that happened at that Prudential Center show, this is interesting. This is from my personal experience. Whenever we were at a WWE show, the people who were like serving drinks or whatever, they didn't give a shit about what's going on in the show.
Nope.
But like when I went to go get a drink, like MJF was talking. You can literally hear the guy's voice in the lobby. Which was
yeah.
weird. But the people who were serving drinks were talking about what was going on in the show. They were saying like, "Oh my god, that guy's pretty good." Or like, "Wow, that guy's throwing some shots." Like they were talking about the show. I've never in any show I've ever been to, I've never seen the people who work in the damn stadium talking about what was at any WWE show I've been to personally. I've never seen people in the arena talking about what was going on. In the show.
No. Like the last time I saw an arena that crowded, that wasn't like WrestleMania or whatever. New Japan, that was pretty crowded. It was a sold out show.
Oh yeah, New Japan was crazy. It was crazy
nuts.
getting out of there.
New Japan was nuts, but Evolution, like that was.
Oh yeah, Evolution was great.
I'd never seen the Coliseum that crowded.
And here's like, I hate to be like this, but it's the truth. Like another reason what really pisses me off about this company, Evolution was one of the best shows they did.
Yeah.
In 5 years at that point.
In 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Yep.
They never did another Evolution, but I tell you what, there were 3 more of after that. There were 3 more Saudi Arabia shows.
Yeah, because they got, they have a big contract and there's a lot of money. That's
well, there you go. Like that's what their priorities are.
They have a lot of revenue streams that has nothing to do with fans, nothing to do with the fans. They got TV money, they got Saudi money, like they got this Peacock streaming deal, like they got all this shit that has nothing to do.
Well, they don't need fans.
They don't need fans. They don't need a new John Cena.
It's no well, think about it. Like look how people look how some people treat others who they think they don't need. WWE doesn't need fans, so look at how they treat their fans.
Yeah, so like it's not they don't want I can't expect honestly, I don't give a shit who wins the Royal Rumble because Roman Reigns is their guy.
Roman Reigns is a champion. He'll probably win the Royal Rumble.
They don't need the next guy. Okay, you can argue any wrestling fan that's like paying attention can see, okay, Big E is probably looks like to be the next thing, right? And he's doing a lot of crossover stuff. He was on the, I think he was on the Fox football broadcast on Saturday.
I don't watch Fox at all.
I don't know. I'm just saying he's a WWE champion now too. But here's the thing.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah, he's a champion. So
how did he win the title?
He cashed in his Money in the Bank.
So see, this is what I'm talking about.
I don't care who wins the Royal Rumble because this is not a promotion where it's like who's the next up. And that's another thing. You watch this show, it's like who's next up, right? NXT is a disaster because it's like who's the next big.
Oh, NXT.
Yeah, it's like we don't even need to talk about it. No, who cares?
You ever see? Okay, there's one thing I'll say about NXT. You ever seen anybody eat a packet of crayons and puke on the floor?
Yeah, like
that's what NXT is.
Anybody, like if you outside of there's a lot of guys that you can see they have potential to be stars, like Shane Strickland, right? He's Swerve Scott now, right?
Oh yeah,
and his group, I'm like they have a lot of like potential stars, right? Bianca Belair, she's Montez Ford and the Street Profits, they have a lot of charisma.
But it's Montez Ford in any other company.
Because if you're a wrestling fan, you can see like, okay, this guy can be a star. But the thing is, WWE is not thinking like that. They're not, because they don't need stars because they have all these revenue streams. So it's like for me as a fan of wrestling, I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a WWE fan. I'm not a fan of WWE. There's guys there that I like, but I'm not a WWE fan anymore. I can't sit here and say I'm a fan of WWE because I think it fucking sucks.
Everyone, a lot of my friends who ask me, well, you watch wrestling? I tell them, well, like I name about. They look at me like some of my friends who ask me about wrestling. They look at me like I have 5 heads because like the companies I talk about don't have WWE's name in them.
Yeah, hey, that's another thing. So if we hear about
like what is that? Like it's not WWE.
Yeah, it's like I remember I was in an Uber on my way to Arthur Ashe, and I was like, "What's going on tonight?" Where I'm like, "What's happening at the tennis stadium?" I'm just like, "Wrestling." It's like, "Oh, like WWE." I'm like, "No, it's another league. What's the other one? AEW." Oh, I don't know. See, that's the thing. When people think wrestling, they think WWE. So if I say I'm a wrestling fan, somebody's gonna say WWE, and then they're gonna look up. They're probably maybe I doubt it. They are, but like. What if they find out? I heard there was a doll and there was a girl puking. Do you watch that? I mean, like they think if I say I watch wrestling, I don't give a shit what people think. If they say I watch wrestling and they find out there's a doll vomiting on Raw, they're gonna think that's what you like. I'm like, then like you said, like we have to explain. Like I like wrestling, but I don't like that shit. It's like saying you're a rap fan now. If you're a rap fan now, do you like quote unquote mumble rap or whatever the fuck? It's like, no, I like this person, I like this whoever. They're gonna look at you with 6 cents.
People think like mainstream rap radio is all there is to it.
Yeah, that's all. That's it.
But like I said, it's only a tiny slice of cheese on a giant wheel.
Yeah.
Wrestling is a big wheel of cheese. WWE has just had a big portion of it for a long time.
The problem is now, and it's an interesting time in wrestling now because there's a lot of different types of cheeses. You have Gouda and whatever the fuck, Monster, Mozzarella. You have a lot of different types of cheeses, right? You got MLW, you got Impact, you got Pro Wrestling Noah, Stardom, New Japan. There's a lot of great pro wrestling out there, but the thing is, like, what do you do? Do you care? Do you care about all these shows? Like, there's a lot of that's another thing. Like with WWE, it's like you watch the show and it's just insulting to you from a TV standpoint and a wrestling standpoint. But there's other promotions out there where they're doing better wrestling than WWE, but it's like, do you care? Who do you care about? That's a dilemma. But it's like WWE is like, it's not a good. When I watch the show, it's like there's other TV shows out there. There's other wrestling shows out there that are far superior to this. So it's like, I don't feel like we should talk about this anymore unless something huge happens.
Like I said, unless someone bonks Vince in the head and reminds him that you're running a fucking wrestling company.
Yeah.
You have wrestlers signed to your promotion. You have wrestling fans that kind of expect some sort of wrestling. But here's the thing, realistically, I could be wrong, but I think he knows what he's doing, and I don't think he cares because he knows that. Exactly. Well, he knows because look, you have the other side of the spectrum where you have a lot of people who will defend WWE for everything they do,
and let them do that. But what I'm saying is,
like people like we talked about. It's like people like know who Vince is. They know the decisions he's made. They mess up things he's done. When they'll still pay for their ticket, go to the arena, and chant his stupid theme song.
Yeah. Because you know what, people...
Those are the fans that Vince probably relies on.
Exactly. Like, people in our generation, if you were born in the early 90s...
Excuse me.
Your childhood memories are associated with, like, Steve Austin, Vince, and the Attitude Era, et cetera, et cetera. So when you watch WWE and you go to WWE shows, that taste of nostalgia is still there for some people. For me, that's gone because I've been exposed to other forms of pro wrestling. I've got different tastes of how pro wrestling is booked. I've come to develop my own tastes of pro wrestling. Like, I've seen Ring of Honor. I've seen New Japan. I've seen All Japan. I've seen Stardom. I've seen whatever. And I know what I like now. And I know what I don't like. And what I don't like is fucking World Wrestling Entertainment. I think it fucking sucks. It's putrid.
Do you think that, like, they would have half the money that they do if it weren't for nostalgia?
No. Because they became a hot, profitable ticket in the late 90s with Steve Austin, The Rock, whatever. That's when they were the most mainstream. But they've made more money since then, I think, because of the success of that time period.
If you could put nostalgia into a syringe, Coke and heroin would go under.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
Course. WWE has that massive library, And listen, like they have Brock Lesnar, who became a bigger star after he left wrestling. You have John Cena there every now and then. You have Goldberg coming in every now and then. So you're still going to get a lot of those people. What's their median? Their top demo on their TV shows is 50 plus. I saw recently that the median age for NXT viewerships is 60. It's like this is nostalgia.
You know, I remember reading that like during the height of like Alexa Bliss's like segments of her as, you know, just as a little girl with a doll. You know who likes that the most? It ain't girls. You know who likes that? Little boys and old men.
That's it. So, you know what? Like, this is just not a show for me. Like, I can't watch it anymore. And it's the biggest wrestling promotion in the world. I don't give a fuck about it. It's just like, I don't really listen to the radio anymore, but I love music more than I've ever loved it in my life.
And like, and we say this again. They have people signed to this company who we love, but it's just, I can't watch people I love either get sidelined or just made to look dumb anymore.
It's like Immortal Technique. What do you say? It's like I love the place I live, but I hate the people in charge. It's like you can like living in America, but you can hate American politics. You know, but I love pro wrestling. I hate WWE. I can drink soda without drinking Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? I can like tacos and not go to Taco Bell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so at that point you'll be eating real tacos.
Yeah, so I want the real taco. You know, there's a lot of good tacos out there. It ain't Taco Bell, and I like Taco
Joe's a chance.
You know what I mean? Las Chilangas in Ridgewood. You know what I mean? That place is fly. You know, but what I'm saying is here on this show, it's like just because we're a wrestling podcast, we don't gotta just talk about every ins and outs of WWE. You know, we gotta talk about the shit that we like.
I mean, after this, it would look a little
look if the Rock comes back,
silly, wouldn't it?
If the Rock comes back, we'll talk about it. You know.
No, wait. But what The Rock... No. It depends on what The Rock does. If he comes back and challenges Roman Reigns for his title,
sure,
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
But if he comes back and plays fucking whack-a-mole with the Uso brothers or something, or like he puts on his Black Adam costume and is a villain to Nikki Ash, I'm not gonna care.
Yeah. But there's nothing to say. Like, I got nothing to say. Like, Roman Reigns is the best he's ever been from a character perspective. But that's not. I love Paul Heyman, but it's not enough for me to watch. Yeah, there's a lot of black people on TV, but just because there's black people on TV doesn't mean I'm going to watch it.
No, but the thing is, the Big E, the guy who's WWE champion now, black man winning the WWE title on paper, great, right? Here's the thing: I'm not supposed. I don't care because he won it with the fucking Money in the Bank. How am I supposed to care about the Money in the Bank?
I don't care
when everybody does, other than RVD.
Yeah.
And maybe one other person, but other than RVD, everybody has cash in the Money in the Bank the same exact way Edge has.
And you know what's funny? Like, you know,
even baby faces.
When some wrestlers and personalities leave WWE, they're either writing books, they're going on podcasts and saying, "Listen, we appreciate what WWE has done from us,
the money,
but it's a disaster." You know what I mean? That's exactly what they say. That's what they say, and it's the truth. And we're not the only ones who think this way. But the thing is, we're not, like guys like Dave Meltzer, Wade Keller, Mike Johnson, John Pollock, all those guys, they gotta watch this shit. We don't gotta watch this shit, and I don't watch this shit. Tomorrow, Monday night, I'm doing an episode of My Little Underground. I'm not watching Raw. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, if any of those guys want to put us on and, pay us for talking about this.
No, I don't. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, that's still like that.
No, like, you can't pay me enough to watch this garbage. You know what I mean?
You'll still be getting paid less than the people working WWE get paid.
I used to work in Top 40 radio.
Yeah, if you want
that wasn't as nauseating as watching World Wrestling Entertainment.
God.
At least there was a Camila Cabello song that was good. Normani had a song that was fly. Cardi B had some great songs. There was some shit to like look forward to during my shifts. But now WWE, it's like they ain't nothing. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Exactly. It's like, ugh.
There's a few things, but it's not enough for me to watch week to week for 2 hours or 3 hours.
Here's the thing.
Fuck that.
Here's the thing. If you want, if you want me to talk about WWE, you got to pay me what WWE wrestlers, superstars are getting paid.
See? Yeah, superstars. Not wrestlers, superstars.
Good
Sports
Lord.
entertainers.
The clipping on... we're probably clipping the hell out of your phone right now.
No, it's fine. But
yeah, it's one of those high-quality
things. I just can't... Like, and now, the thing is, since WWE's been doing this a long time, and that's where you make a lot of money, but it's like, you have certain wrestlers that call themselves fucking sports entertainers. It's like... Oh my God.
Oh God.
You're a sport entertainer? What the fuck does that mean? Like,
wait a minute, but aren't a lot of people in sports don't they already entertain the crowds anyway?
They're paid to be athletes.
Yeah, like, but that's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it is, but you're paid to be the best athlete. If you're entertaining and you can't catch a football, guess what? You're off the fucking field. You suck. You know what I mean?
Watching Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder was very entertaining.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of sports entertainers is silly.
But it's just it's just a way to say we're not wrestling.
Oh.
Like urban radio,
or like how rappers will rap on an album and say I'm not a rapper.
No. Yeah. It's like it's the thing is, like, you know, UFC, it's like, you know, you can suck and still make a lot of money as long as you're entertaining. You can sell a fight. It's all about, you know, money.
Entertainment should be good though.
But here's the thing: even if you're watching two scrub MMA fighters on a big pay-per-view, you're still gonna get a fight. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna start doing dance routines and whatever the fuck. They're not gonna start foaming out of the mouth, you know, with a doll. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, at least if it's goofy, at least you're getting a fight. But like wrestling, WWE, it's like you're not even getting that. Like, you have one thing at the top of your card. It's like, I'm the head of the table. I'm the top guy here. Cool. But then the rest is just, you're either just a guy on a show. You're just another person. You're not anything that we should care about. Or you're doing some wacky, non-believable bullshit. And I'm not talking about Canadian destroyers and flips. I'm talking about doing shit that's out of the realm of logical television. We're talking about a promotion that writes their show 15 minutes before it airs. Oh yeah, 7:45. I saw reporters saying the show has not been written yet. The show is still being written.
So it's bad improv?
So it's bad TV and it's bad pro wrestling. It's bullshit. And they tell you that it's bullshit. They tell you we're not doing pro wrestling. You got wrestlers trained to wrestle. They're out there wrestling, but that's not why you should pay your money. This is not what we're trying to tell you. This is not what we're doing. So go fuck yourself. I'm not watching it.
Well, that's literally what I feel like they tell me. Well, I feel like whenever I was watching Raw and SmackDown, they were telling me, go fuck yourself for being a wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, please tune in. Please don't stop watching. But you're a mark if you thought that, like, this match was going to end in a way that made sense. Well, you thought this person was going to actually go over.
You thought the guy that you were rallying behind was actually going to vanquish the foe. No, sir. You thought Kofi Kingston was going to actually go toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar? You dweeb. You thought Ricochet was going to go toe-to-toe with Lesnar? You dork.
Well, that did happen at Saudi Arabia. No one cared.
You got washed in 2 seconds. And now Ricochet is the guy who wrestled on main event. And motherfucking Mustafa Ali, who I like, is telling guys, please watch main event. Are you kidding me, sir? You have 5 hours of TV, plus you have 205 Live. That's another hour.
The only place he's gonna like wrestle. That's why he's probably begging people at this point. Listen, please, this is the only place he's gonna watch me wrestle.
You know what's an hour show? MLW Fusion. You know what's another hour show? NWA Power. You know what's another hour show? Fucking AEW Rampage. You know what's another hour? Suri versus what's her face? From Stardom a few months ago. That's like an hour. Shingo versus Will Ospreay. That was almost an hour. Fuck you for your main event. How about that? Fuck you, WWE main event.
Well, listen, I love Mustafa Ali. He's another guy I love that deserves better. Like many other people I love in the company who deserve better. Well, they're probably rich, so I guess I can't really say poor them. But, God.
I'm sick of it. We're done. We're done. No more. When something big happens, we'll talk about it. But other than that, fuck this show. Fuck it.
You know how the you know how like Bray Wyatt and the whole Firefly thing should have ended. He should have like at the end of quarantine, at the end of the the Thunderdome era, he should have burned down the entire building and reset everything. And then they come back as a wrestling company. That's what I thought was going to happen.
When Randy Orton burned the Fiend alive, we saw him burn alive, and then he came back.
No, he should have burned down the entire Thunderdome, burn down everything burn everything down, and then let people know, hey, we're gonna do a whole reset, and we're gonna come back as a wrestling company.
You see, before COVID, the Fiend was a hot act, and then
with
COVID,
song was hot.
With COVID and no fans. Randy Orton burned them alive to a crisp. They transferred his character over to Alexa Bliss. The Fiend comes back at WrestleMania in a box, loses to Randy Orton after being burned alive. After being burned alive, he comes back. He loses to Randy Orton via a wrestling maneuver, the RKO, right? The three most devastating letters in sports entertainment. It's sports entertainment. He wins, he loses, and then you know what they did? They fucking fired his ass. They kicked his ass to the curb. They said, kick rocks, you fucking dweeb. That's what they told us. And so what? Like, that's one reason out of many reasons why I hate this show. And it's like, how can anybody care?
You got me feeling bad for Bray Wyatt.
And then this girl is foaming out of the mouth for no reason. It's like, fuck this show, man. I can't watch it.
Because of the doll. The doll gives her her powers. Don't you know? Don't you get it?
I can't fucking watch this shit anymore. God. It's too much.
You know, I told you before, not too long ago, Richard and I were watching the Dora the Explorer, that live action Dora the Explorer movie they made.
No, but okay.
Yo, I shit you not. That was booked better than the last 5 years of WWE television we've watched. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to watch it.
No.
You don't have to, but just take my word for it. Like, right. I couldn't believe it.
More of the story, we cannot talk about WWE anymore because it's stupid and it's insulting to our intelligence, and there's way more better written shows out there. Really. And there's better wrestling shows out there. So we're not talking about it unless something big happens. The next time we come up here, whenever we feel like doing it, it's going to be about some real good shit that you should pay attention to, and that'll be it. Any objections, Smiley?
No. If you haven't seen Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, check that out.
Please do.
And Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho.
Yeah, it was really good. Were great. And I watched Rampage the other day, and it was...
any CM Punk match.
Yeah, CM Punk versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that.
And this kid is 23 years old, and they had a really good match. It was a nice hold for hold match. A lot of good, it was really good. And that's why I like, that's the reason why I watch stuff like AEW, just as an example, because I like seeing young guys. Like in music, I like seeing, artists on the come up. And like in wrestling, you got CM Punk who's a star. Then you got Daniel Garcia who's a star on the rise. And he goes toe to toe with CM Punk and he loses in a valiant effort. So he lost, but Daniel Garcia is not a dork. He's a guy on the rise who's facing a star. So you're not ready to beat him yet. No one's gonna believe that you can beat CM Punk. But you went toe to toe. So now fans are watching like, I gotta watch this Daniel Garcia guy. That's professional wrestling. WWE doesn't want to do that anymore. They got their guys and Roman's gonna beat whoever, and that's the end of the story. Until they feel like, okay, this guy's gonna win. That's it. There's no real rhyme or reason to anything.
I can speak on CM Punk versus Will Hobbs.
Yeah.
That was a great match between a mid-sized veteran and a big new guy.
Yep.
And they melded together beautifully.
Yeah, you're talking about professional wrestling.
Yes.
WWE is not trying to do that.
No.
And that's it. And so you can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. You can follow us on the socials at the Wrestling Caucus on Instagram, Wrestling Caucus Twitter, Facebook.com/the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Arriaga, baby.
And it's time for us to cool down because talking about WWE makes me
angry,
livid.